Welcome to my show, The Woman's Connection. I'm Barrie-Louise Switzen, your moderator. The Woman's Connection is a program about women who've had challenges and obstacles in their lives. More important, it's what they've done about it. Some of us cook to live, others live to cook. A profession that only 6% in the United States are women out of the whole entire population of being chefs. How do they survive in an environment like this? Would you like to survive in these type of odds? I know I wouldn't, but they've been doing it, and very successfully. Today we have 4 wonderful chefs: Jacqueline Chuney, Ann McManus, Leslie Revsin, and Lorena Williamson. Let us welcome them, and I only wish we had a camera with food and everything else here that we could sample, but we can't have any food here, so they didn't bring any. But anyway, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome. Would you please just start with you, Leslie, and just tell us your name exactly, and in case I made a mistake in pronouncing it, and also where you are and what you're doing today. And
Sure. I'm Leslie Revsin, and I've been a chef in New York for 22 years. And a year ago, I left the professional kitchen to work on a television cooking show.
Oh, great.
Which I'm developing with public television.
Oh, we got to hear more about this.
Hi, I'm Ann McManus. I'm the pastry chef at the Stanhope Hotel. I've been in the business for about 6 years, and hopefully a lot longer.
Great.
Hello, I'm Lorena Williamson, and I'm pastry chef at Liz Claiborne Executive Dining. I'm also the owner and pastry chef of Lorena's Specialty Baking.
Oh, exciting.
Thanks.
And Jackie?
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Chumley. I've been in the business for about 12 years. I was previously a restaurant chef, and I'm now developing my own catering operation.
Thank you. Now, most of us know chefs wearing all white, and I couldn't ask the chefs to wear white here because otherwise they look like 50 pounds heavier than they, you know, we want to look slim, not 50 pounds added onto our weight. So we're all in different clothes, but I'd like to get an idea of how do you feel about wearing this uniform, or how did you feel, Leslie?
Well, at the time, for those 22 years, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I felt official, I felt important, I felt that I really had a role to play, and it helped to encourage me in the business, and one needs as much encouragement as one can possibly get. At this point in my life, though, I'm delighted to be out of whites 99% of the time. It's still fun to put them on, and I'm comfortable in them, but I'm really glad to be out in the world and wearing real clothes.
I think it's great to have a uniform. And
It's like wearing whites is like having a rite of passage. I enjoyed wearing them initially, but when I first started, it was very hard to get clothing to fit me since they're all sized for men and I'm petite. But that's changing now. There's a lot of new companies. Not that any of the hotels or restaurants buy from these companies. They are
of course not.
Maybe they will now.
I feel proud, and people are very, when they see you in the whites, they want to know what you do, and they're very interested in a woman chef, and
it's
so
unusual.
Yes, definitely.
And you've earned your whites.
Definitely.
Jackie?
I've always loved my uniform. Actually, when I first started in the business, I was a stickler for the whole thing, the hat, the necktie, everything. And as the years went on, I guess I became more confident, and I felt that I didn't have to go all out because I had really earned the right to wear those clothes, and I didn't have to wear that tall hat to say who I was, and I didn't have to wear that necktie. So I have actually graduated to wearing the new style baggy chef pants, and I've gotten really casual with my uniform. But I really do love my uniform, and I do insist that anybody working under me wear their proper uniform.
I think it's marvelous. I mean, it says a lot. I mean, you went to college, you got a degree, and this says who you are. I think it's fabulous because so many people dress down. We were talking about this. You know, you dress down on Fridays, and it's like, okay, who's the president of the company? Well, he's over there in blue jeans. You know,
is he allowed to dress down too?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Leslie, since you've been in the chef world so long, what was it like when you started out?
Well, it was pretty scary. And,
in what way?
Well, because at the time, and well, I didn't think about it that much in this way. I mean, it was totally new territory. It was new ground, and it was really uncharted waters, all those phrases. And my first job was at the Waldorf, and so walking into a kitchen with, and I don't remember how many people there were, 99% men, over 100, with 6 or 7 kitchens, it was very intimidating. There wasn't a lot of comfort level, for me. So it took a little getting used to.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I know. I took a tour of the Waldorf's kitchen, and it's like a whole city block underground. I mean, it's like awesome.
Yeah.
Well, now I know why the waiter can't get me the butter, because the butter's in another part of the whole whole hotel. I mean,
butter's in Hoboken.
Right.
Yes,
exactly. It's quite interesting. Anne, how did you feel when you started? Well, you've been in the just a few years.
When I first started, I was very excited because it was a new career for me, and I really wanted to prove myself. So I worked very hard, as I think any woman would have had to do in a man's world. But I really didn't have terrible obstacles. I mean, because I always worked hard, so it was very hard for them to point the finger and say, well, she's a woman, she's not carrying her weight, because I always, did more, stayed longer, and I was very ambitious when I first started out.
Well, you weren't always a chef. You
No,
did a career
change? Well, first I went to college to be a teacher,
and
there were no jobs at the time, so then I got into law school administration, and I was assistant director of admissions, and did a lot of recruiting across the country. And then I felt stymied in that career, since I came from a creative background. I originally came from an art background. So I was looking into something to join my creativity, and I always loved to bake, so I thought that was the perfect thing. I will become a pastry chef.
Well, I'll tell you something. My mother took a course because she couldn't stand paying the high prices for all these fancy, beautiful cakes. So she took a course, and after the second class, she said, "That's it, I'm paying the price." I mean, it's a real talent. It's a real knack. I mean, it's very talented.
Time-consuming. Very, very time-consuming.
Well, yeah. Besides that, it was just like, Mother didn't have the skills for that.
Well, we don't want to talk about that, though.
No. But that's why we have other people who enjoy the work. Lorena, how did you start out, or did you begin as a chef, or?
Yes, I went through school right into Culinary Institute, and I went from Culinary Institute right into the baking business. I thought the specialized part of it, the personalized and the little technique, I love it. And being in the kitchen with men, yes, you had to prove yourself, but I was very independent. I never asked them to lift up my 100-pound bags or 50-pound bags. I always put on a weight belt and did it myself.
Good for you. God. Well, it's building muscles and building backbone and everything else.
Because they give you more respect when you do it yourself.
Well, one of the problems that I encountered, one of the most serious problems really at the Waldorf, was that the men were too nice. They were in fact trying to be too helpful, and they got in my way not because they doubted that I could do it, well, at least in a negative way, but they doubted that I could do it, therefore they wanted just to help me all the time, and I just had to say to them, get back, get back, get back, leave me alone, I want to do it myself. And sometimes that's a mistake, because there are times when you do need help.
Right.
But when you are young and you're really proving yourself, and you're mostly proving yourself to yourself, that's a very challenging situation, and you lose your boundaries a little bit.
Well, especially back when you started, nobody was really
in the Stone Age.
Right.
No,
it's just like
rocks.
Right. I mean, they weren't used to women in the workforce at that point, really.
Not very much.
When you're talking, what was the middle 70s?
No, early 70s,
early
71,
70s?
72.
Okay, well, women were just starting to come out into the workforce across the board, no matter what profession you were in.
Let alone a professional kitchen.
Yeah, that's tough. What about you, Jackie?
Well, like all of these women, I think we all had to work harder, we had to work more, and we probably had to work for less.
Good point.
Definitely, you had to sell yourself when you went to interviews. You definitely had to prove to them, I can do this, and they're like, well, we're going to have to help you. Oh, I don't know. You have to say, yes, I'm going to be able to do what the next guy can do. And sometimes there was a guy who was 4'11" who couldn't do as much as you could do.
That's right.
Right.
So, exactly.
You had to bring up that point.
But he wasn't embarrassed to ask for help, was he?
No.
Didn't you find that
More
was
than
not a
that,
problem amongst the males to ask
he
for
probably
help?
could not do it as well as you could do it, because women tend to, and this is not all women, and it's not for all men, but in general, women tend to pay more attention to the finer things.
That's true.
The
they
intricate
tend to
work,
be a little
yes.
more careful. They definitely tend to be a little more organized
Yes.
and neat. I don't know if any of you have
Oh,
experienced
yes, I
that.
have.
You can tell the difference between a woman's walk-in and a man's.
It's neater.
Yeah, it's kind of like the closets.
Oh, I wish I'd seen some more women's walk-ins in my life than my own. I'll tell you, I would have liked to have gone for a visit in one of your walk-ins. Say, oh, thank you.
That's right.
Did you have trouble when you said to your family that you wanted to be a chef? Did you have obstacles? Were they against you being a chef, or were they enthusiastic, or said, "What do you want to sweat in the kitchen for?" I mean, it's like.
Well, I'm afraid I didn't get a lot of encouragement to do much of anything when I was a kid, so I'm sure whatever I chose would have been not the right thing to do. I think the thing that my mother was most specific about was when I opened a restaurant in New York, because I had a little restaurant called Restaurant Leslie in late 70s, early 80s, and she said, oh, well, in our family we don't have stores.
Oh my!
So I said, fine, good, then I'm doing it. You know.
Be the first. It's always
Exactly.
great to be the
It's
first.
good to be the first.
Did anybody else have any obstacles with their family as far
My
as?
family basically, although I can't say that's true now, they are very supportive, but at the time I had a very good job in middle management, and they thought that I was very foolish. I was a single woman at the time. How could I leave this good position to slop in the kitchen, as my mother put it? And my brothers too thought I think they thought I was having a mental breakdown.
Do they still?
But now they're very supportive, and they think, you know, and I think they realize that it's important to do what you like to do and to be happy, as opposed to only going for the money and those kinds of rewards, because you're just not happy, and you spend most of your time at the work environment,
Right.
especially in the restaurant work
Yes,
environment.
that's right.
Well, what are
Is
your
there any
hours
other
like?
time?
I think they're like crazy hours. You work from morning till night, or
It really depends on what's going on. I mean, in the
Yeah.
hotel, it's a 24-hour business, so if there's banquets, I might have to go in on a day off. If someone calls in sick, I might get called in. It doesn't close, as opposed to a restaurant may have a set schedule where, you know, Sunday and Mondays might be closed, or at least Sundays or major holidays. Corporate dining, I think it's Monday to Friday.
Monday
which
to
is a little-
Friday.
oh,
which
the
we're all
baker's
envious of.
hours.
But they didn't
Yes.
start out that way, and also the reason why I chose corporate dining right now is to be able to pay more attention to my business, because, you know, I come home and I'm baking again. You know,
And well,
so.
let's see. You have a product here that you're doing.
Yes, I've
You wanna hold it up?
merged. I have merged with A&E International to produce this heritage chocolate bar. It's for a little bit of our ethnic background, and, you know, some people in our ethnic, you know, so they could have something to say that it's their own heritage. It speaks for itself.
Right.
So we produce this around the holidays and different special gift baskets or anything.
Terrific.
So it's kind of versatile. Yeah.
That's great. And you've got well, no, since you've started your own catering business, you're 24 hours also.
Well, yeah, you have to be available for lunches, dinners, weekend parties. But it's nothing different than the restaurant business. The restaurant business is just about a 24-hour business. When you have to get in the restaurant at 4 o'clock in the morning to put prime rib in for Thanksgiving, it's a 24-hour business.
There's not much of a life.
After,
Well, I was going to
this
ask
is
you, what's
after
your
leaving.
social life?
Well, this is after leaving at 12 o'clock the night before.
No, I don't think that's a business for me. I'll come to the restaurants.
It's very rewarding.
It's more
so.
fun eating out, isn't
Oh,
it?
I love eating
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
But the
Right.
one thing I always tell people when they ask me, you know, people always are asking for advice. I say you have to love it. Go, get yourself a job. If you have to volunteer your time, do it for free, just so that you get a feel for what you're getting yourself into. Because you
Excellent advice.
you really have to love it to stick it out.
Yeah, because it seems like, you know, I worked in the bank in the corporate world, and I would work 9 to 5. Well, my hours didn't stop at 5 o'clock. I'd still be there at 9 o'clock. And at the end of the year, I would say to my secretary, I think you made more money per hour than I did. You know, she was the 9 to 5 gal here, and I'm the executive.
You can't break it down that way, because then you just go into complete cardiac arrest. You know? It's
And die.
Yeah, right. But it's a break. So,
There are a lot of sacrifices.
any way you can get it.
A lot of sacrifices involved. You give up all your holidays. You give up all family occasions. I can't tell you the amount of weddings, birthdays,
That's true.
anniversaries that I've missed.
I think my cousin still isn't speaking to me. For wedding business around the holidays.
I wonder, do any of you have any children? Because I have a daughter. And it's
That's gonna
a
ask.
huge issue. Huge issue.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yes,
When do you ever
yes.
see her? I mean, let alone
I
your
do
husband?
now,
Oh.
and as of the last year or so. She's 26 also, so she's lived through some very difficult times and a lot of years when I really wasn't available to her. And that's a major issue for women. That it's not that much better. It's probably better if you own your own restaurant and you have some power. If you own your own restaurant and you're making money, because then you have some power, you can hire some more people, you can have some flexibility in your schedule. But if you're working for someone else, you have to be working for a saint.
There are not many of those around.
Yes, yes,
There are
absolutely.
none.
And so that's something to really consider if there are women out there who are thinking about the field. It doesn't mean to reject the idea by any means, because if you have to do it, you love it. As Jackie says, you must do it. You have to follow your own, voice in your head, but you have to realize that
It's hard.
it's
because
very
it's
hard,
like,
very, very hard.
Like when you're starting out, you want to make money, but then again, you realize, well, you're not going to make money, but they say, do what you love to do and the money will follow. Well, that sounds
How long does that take?
Money. Let me make that clear.
You talk about a time.
Is that what they say?
I've heard that.
And I think if you put your whole heart into it, money will come.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Is there anything that you find that's, okay, dealing with the men is very challenging. Is anything else brought up a challenge for you being in this profession? Not seeing your family as one. Time, how do you find time to even relax or go on vacation? Is that difficult too, or do you just find it?
No, you can relax on vacation.
Yes, you really have to be away.
Although friends really, I think they think that you, because I'm a baker, and people are always asking me on my only days off for a party to bring a cake, bring, and it's really not fair, and I don't think they realize it. I mean, you're looking forward to just relaxing and maybe not cooking or baking, whatever it is, and they expect you to whip up something incredible that you serve in the restaurant. And very often I buy something, and they're always so disappointed, but I really don't have a choice sometimes.
You're just too burnt out.
And to come home and bake, I personally don't like to do it at home, baking, because at work you have all the equipment, you have everything, everything's at your fingertips. At home, well, you don't have this, you don't have that, so you have to run out, so it's another step. You have to run out and get the missing ingredients. And things do not work in your home oven the way they work. I believe me, trust me.
The equipment is not the same.
Not the same.
And there are no dishwashers or pot washers. That's a major element.
That is amazing.
Yes, right. You're on your own.
Yes.
I know I love to cook, but it's like in New York kitchens are so minuscule.
That's true.
It's like you can't really bake. You can't spread out. I mean, you spread out, you're in the living room. And it's like
soon to be in the bedroom.
right.
Good point.
When you go to a restaurant, are you a critique?
Wow.
Most definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
I order dessert just to have a little.
I would never I never complain to anyone. I would never give the waiter a hard time or the chef. But inside, I've noticed everything. And I'm terrible.
Well, it's very interesting. It's a double-edged sword, because if something is so bad, I feel the restaurant should know, because then they need to improve so that the customer will come back.
Wow, everybody doesn't take criticism very well.
Well,
the chef may feel like it tastes good to me. Sorry that you didn't like it. Sometimes they don't take criticism very well, especially oh, you're a pastry chef. Yeah, where? And then
it's like.
That's not good enough. I've been
I would
here,
never
there.
do that to someone. Say, I'm a pastry chef, and then I just wouldn't do it.
No, I mean, it's really...
They don't take it well.
I think it's in your
They don't.
attitude as well. And I really more agree with you, particularly these last few years. I think it's important for the restaurant to know that something may not be quite right. But I mean, I try to keep a very, very low, key.
If you are going to do it.
But I feel that it's my responsibility. Particularly, I'm also paying.
Exactly.
Excuse me, but I'm paying for my meal.
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, it's fine if you're not, yes, you expect the food to taste a certain way, and yes, it's not to your taste, but if something's wrong between that and service, I mean, I eat out quite a bit, and it's like, gang, it's my money, and I feel I deserve service, and it's even better when I'm entertaining and I'm paying the check. The waiters are always more to the man, because they think he's paying.
Still.
It's like, because when I go in, I've learned if I want good service or equal service, I'll say, if I have arrived before my guest, I said, well, has my guest arrived? And that's kind of a way to say, I'm paying.
both, yeah.
You know, and
Yes.
it's
You're putting them on the alert.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
let's not play this little game because I'm paying the tip and I want service too.
Yeah. Does it work?
Oh yes. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a very good idea.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I think Leslie is right in that you want to know, because as a chef, I have always looked at the dishwasher table.
Yes, exactly.
And if something comes back untouched, uneaten, I get the maitre d' in and ask him to go across to that table and find out if everything
that's
was
wise.
okay.
Yes.
Because as a chef, you want to know. And actually, it's a compliment when your customers say to you, this wasn't right. Because you have regular customers and they come in and they'll say to you, because they expect better. And if something isn't right and they say it, I actually feel good about it because they expect a certain standard and it wasn't there. A lot of times we can't be 100% perfect, and there's always that once that something's going to slip up. And you want to know about it.
Right.
That's the only way you can correct it.
But I think one also has to assume that, you know, positive things are being said. And I know when I used to be in the back, and I wonder if this is true for you as well, all you ever hear really is the negative stuff. So now when I go to a restaurant, I mean, I'm not intent on negativity by any means at all. In fact, I really prefer it not to happen. But I really go out of my way to say that something is terrific or wonderful or whatever, because how often, you know, do you get good feedback? I'm sure that's true in fields other than restaurant business as well. Maybe.
Very
Yeah.
no, it's
Yes.
true. You don't
Yes.
get your pat on your back. You don't get the good work done. You know, and it's not even reflected sometimes in your pay bonus or whatever.
No,
People
not at
just
all.
expect you to do it.
Yes.
And you're right. You know, you like positive feedback, but you also like to know when something's not right, so you can correct it. Because if it continues to be incorrect, people are not going to come back, and your business fails.
Yeah.
I mean, that's any business, really.
And the other part is that we don't work alone. I mean, we have staffs.
That's right.
And you can't, a chef is supposed to be everywhere, and to a large extent she is. But the fact of the matter is you can turn around for 2 seconds and someone's done something a little differently than the way you've wanted to, or didn't really understand what you're talking about, or whatever. And as Jackie says, particularly when you have regular customers who respect your work, you can trust what they have to say, and you need to know, you know, that something's not as it normally is.
That's an interesting thing that Leslie just said. A lot of customers have no idea how a restaurant kitchen is run. You'd be amazed at the amount of people that have seen me in the dining room and have said, well, who cooked the food?
Yeah, yeah.
It seems as that they have this whole idea, it's a one-man show back there, and that everything that leaves there was personally created and put together by the chef.
Well, that's what I always thought.
Well, it's true. Well, it's part of the magic, and you have to feel a little ambivalent about, you know, maybe bursting the balloon a little bit. But a little bit of knowledge about how the restaurant business actually works is helpful too. So, just a little.
I have a question, because one thing I love is desserts. I don't care basically what the whole meal is like. I look at the dessert menu at the beginning of my selection. I mean, I'm a chocoholic. So I want your candy bar when we finish. But it's just really kind of funny because, you know, it's like, well, I've got 10 desserts here, and out of the 10 desserts, I would like 5. You know, and it's like, no, I don't want to come back tomorrow and to taste another one. I want a little sample. You know, why can't I have a little sample of all my desserts? You know, it's like, this is what I want. I mean,
well, some restaurants do that.
Sample of platters.
You know.
But they always cost more.
Well, because you're getting
twice as
parts
much
of, you know, cakes.
Oh, all right.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, I feel the same way you do. I mean, I'm not a pastry chef, but I truly love desserts. And I'll look at the dessert menu and I want to order at least, let's say, 3 or 4. I'm restrained. But I don't like little pieces of things. I like to get my teeth into things. So I will order 3 or 4 desserts for myself. So that's a lot cheaper than the more expensive sampling plate.
Well,
so think of it that way. That's,
I was looking at Ben.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a good customer.
Well, we should all adjourn to the
Let's get something to eat.
Right.
The chef is here. What's going on?
Right.
That's the good thing about being the pastry chef is like that's the last thing the customer has. Is the dessert. They remember you.
Yes,
They come back. They'll come back just for the dessert.
Important
You know, the
stuff.
food may not be that good, but if they had a good dessert,
Wait a minute here.
No, but it's true.
Thank you.
You know, it's very
You
true.
can make or break a restaurant, actually.
Right,
If
definitely.
they don't like the dessert,
it's a very important
even
position.
if they had an excellent meal, that's their last impression.
Well, it's the
So
same
it
as
is
when,
very important.
right, it's like when you're planning a special event or anything, you can do low calorie here, and you can do low calorie here, and it can be a health and hearty and everything else, but boy, you don't skimp on the dessert.
No.
That's my
right.
feeling.
Bring out the
I'm not
chocolate
too
cream
big
pie.
on
You got it.
Yeah.
Well, dessert has really become very important in the past, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. And there is a new trend towards pastry chefs. You see it more and more in all the food service magazines. They are respecting and acknowledging the work of pastry chefs
Great.
more and more, and it has become a real important part of the meal. And now the experienced diner that goes out, they are really looking forward to that elegant, well thought out dessert at the end. No more Boston cream pie.
In the closing moments of the show, let me ask you, what is your favorite dessert to prepare and eat?
Dessert.
My favorite dessert to eat, which is the simplest dessert to make, is creme brulee. And
Is it that simple?
it's very simple.
Really?
I tend
want
to
the
like the
recipe.
creams. You know, I go for creamy desserts, custards, that kind of thing. Chocolate, of course, is everyone's favorite, so it's my least favorite because I tend to like more fruity desserts than that. But I know the customers always prefer chocolate, so you always have to have chocolate.
At least 2 or 3.
5 or 6, right?
Right. Anybody?
I think mine's tiramisu.
Tiramisu?
Definitely. Every time I go out, I order tiramisu.
Okay. Jackie?
Well, I'm not one for preparing desserts. I'll eat them. I love a bowl of vanilla ice cream with fresh strawberries over
Oh
the
my
top.
goodness.
Leslie? Driscoll strawberries. I'm the national spokesperson for Driscoll strawberries. Well, I'm not going to answer dessert-wise, although I adore dessert. I'm a bread freak.
Oh, for
I
heaven's sakes.
adore bread, homemade bread, crusty, chewy, dense, something you really have to get your teeth in.
Oh, my.
Bread.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm hungry and it's time to go for desserts. What can I say? I thank you all for joining me today. It's
Thank you
been
for
wonderful
having
having you. And what is your favorite dessert? I'd really like to hear from you. It's because of people like you that keep people like me on the air. So please write me. The Woman's Connection, the Ansonia Station, Post Office Box 918, New York, New York. Thank you.